Hi everyone, this is DP0427 of WROL Broadcast, bringing you the first episode of The Situation Room, live from the Hall of Justice. With me today for our first segment, we have the leaders of UC, which is the Underground Justice League of America, and the Champions of the Amazons collaboration. I believe that's what you guys call it, right?
That's correct.
Right. So we have the Batman and Adam on with us today. So also we have our fellow WRL broadcast member Kage as well, representing both sides of the discussion that we're going to have today. So in this segment, the idea is that we're going to be presenting hot button issues brought up in the community, whether it's through the CC or through Reddit or what have you. And the topic for today is the idea behind alliance jumping and the whole controversy surrounding that. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Kage first, who will describe the issue to you guys, and then we'll take it from there.
Hi guys, this is Kage here. So the entire issue is that family alliances are seen as type of, I guess you would say, a big alliance with a family of farmer alliances, and basically everyone it's more of a 90 or 120 people alliance who are farming points to get themselves on the leaderboard to dominate other legitimate alliances with only 30 members. Now, because the game can't see if you are moving around alliances during the week, people are competing for a top 10 or top 100 award. There's no way to verify that it's not cheating. That's basically the whole issue. Is it ethical to have a bunch of whales moving around alliances to get a number or so of smaller alliances into brackets or placings that they don't belong in? Did I sum that up real well, Adam, Batman?
Yeah, it sounds fair enough, I guess, of what I believe people believe is happening anyway.
But that doesn't mean that's the case. And of course, yeah, but that's not what we do. We don't move around people every day and switch alliances, swap out.
I mean, let's break this down a little bit more in detail. So from what I understand, and I didn't really read this into it in too much detail, so I should be completely honest about it, is that from what I understand is let's say you have Alliance A, B, and C. And let's say Alliance A is your main alliance, then you have B and C as your sort of sub-alliances, right? And the accusations are that people from, let's say, B and C will shift around to an open slot in Alliance A, dump their points for the day into doing their alliance missions, and then leave the alliance, and then so that someone else can do the same thing, and that way for the day can acquire more points than you.
That's swapping, and we don't operate like that. If we switch a alliance, it's usually done on a Monday after reset, and usually that person is there for 2 or 3 weeks on end. But as far as swapping, jumping, putting points, leave out, no, that's kind of primitive.
But that's the basis of the argument, right? Just so that I'm clear.
That's kind of what I have gathered through some of the Reddit posts of what people believe, or maybe a little vice versa. Not that Alliance B and C are moving their players up to the main alliance so the main alliance can make points. I mean, why would that benefit the players in B and C if they just put their points in and then leave? But also I've heard that people from say, Alliance A are moving down to help the lower alliances. All I can say is that our main alliance is strong enough. We don't need help from our other alliances, first of all. And we have almost 250 members. If you really believe we have the time to spare to move all these people around to make sure we maintain top spots, it's just entirely not true. I mean, They give us much more credit than we deserve in that aspect. Now, here's my feeling about it, and I've talked to management about this before, is there's been many occasions where the top alliance, our main UJLA alliance, is 20,000 points ahead of, second place. And there's 3 days left. There's 2 PvPs and a heroic. And let's say, I know if it's like with the Blitz, and the required heroes are also ones that work for alliances points, then, I'm going to put in another 3,000 or 4,000 points in them 3 or 4 days. Now, when we're 20,000 points ahead already, I do feel that them points are completely wasted in the main alliance and that they could go somewhere elsewhere. But on the other hand, we don't like to do that because we don't want the other alliances to think that, well, it's okay, someone's going to come down and help us. We can just lay back and wait for the reinforcements to come. So, we really don't go that route either. I mean, if we move someone, it's going to be on a Monday, after reset, and they're going to stay there for a while. We're not just going to jump 3, 4, 5 people around, help them move. And the other thing that we do, and if anybody has a problem with this, I'm sorry, but I completely disagree with you, is if we have a member, say, in our top 100 alliance who has shown something very particular that sets out to management and says, this guy deserves the alliance points for the week, because we always have spots open in the main alliance. We are hardly ever full. We have reasons for keeping spots open in the main alliance. So if there's them open spots and the guy has shown, something that really sticks out to us, let it come up for an hour right before weekly reset, collect the weekly alliance points because they're just going to waste anyway if no one's there to get them. And then he jumps back down. But he doesn't put in points. He's not helping. We're just helping him grow a little bit. If that offends anybody, I'm sorry, but I don't care, and that's about all the alliance jumping that we really do. It's not as highly skilled as what people want to give us credit for.
Okay, so before I give it over to Kage, and before I want to summarize that too, Batman, can you is there anything else you want to add to what Adam just said?
Oh no, you pretty much summed it up. I started to jump in and cut him off, but he was going to say exactly what I said, so this is all good.
Okay, so let me just summarize that quickly. So from what I understand from what you guys are saying is that the only time you guys really shift around members is right before reset at the beginning of the week, around Monday, Tuesday-ish, right? So right at that time when the week is starting off. And basically, And basically the point of it being is that, well, from one case, so maybe, you're sort of promoting a player from a lower alliance to the main alliance. And as you were saying, you're giving that person a chance to earn like the biggest rewards being, in the first place alliance. And then, if they show promise, maybe they deserve to be there or they get shifted back down, as you were saying. That's kind of what I was getting.
Right.
Yeah, there's
if I can interject. Yeah, what we have set up essentially is a promotion demotion system. Every alliance is based on a high tier of points. So the weekly alliance points that you would score is 2,000 points. The second one, 1,500, and then so on and so forth. Okay. Now, within that week, we keep a Excel spreadsheets, our alliances, and if someone doesn't meet that criteria quota spread, they are then moved down to another low tier alliance. So that's about the only movement we do every week.
And I will say that one day that we have to do that, when you have 250 members, that's quite a chore with management and officers anyway to do it once a week, let alone multiple times within a week.
and that's only if so Mr. Quota, and very rarely some people do. So maybe like 10, 15 people, maybe tops per week.
Yep, fair enough. So Kage, I mean, you've heard from their side. What do you have to say from your side?
From my side, whoa.
Your side being the other side.
Okay, well, I guess this goes back to what I was saying about the farmer thing type of analogy. I think this goes back to I guess the controversy goes back to what happened with the Martian Manhunter. Weird controversy was there were a few alliances in the top 10. They were so far ahead that they decided, well, these points are going to be wasted. No one's going to see me hop down into the lower alliances and waste points and bring these guys back up, or bring my other fellow alliance back up. So I don't think it's more of a management wanting to secure spots for their top alliance. That's not really beneficial to them, but it's just whales being bored and just helping out lower family members, and then spending a few extra wads of cash bringing the other alliances up. And even though you guys are keeping it track on a spreadsheet, there's really no way to prove it other than making your spreadsheets public. But even then, that's still kind of nobody's business.
Right.
Yeah. Just to expound on a point you made, during the MMH week, remember that week very well, and the alliance that you speak of, who is convoluted, the UJLA wasn't merged in, and so every point we made. There was no alliance jump. We set a quota for ourselves, and our quota for that week was 5,000 points. You know what I'm saying? So each member had to make 5,000 points. Some made more. Our main top guy, SPR Jr., he made about 12K points in one day, actually. Just we playing PvE, and that's the type of caliber that we have in the main alliance. And so when Champions of Amazon came, well, that was all the more good, because now we have a solid alliance of top tier players, and I'm not sure about any other alliance, but I want the best in the world.
Okay, so
if you can have 20 LeBron James on the team when you get it.
So now with the aspect of the accusations against UC being what it is, and you guys have defended yourself enough. So we get the argument from that side now. Let's focus on the issue of whether the idea of alliance jumping should actually be a thing or not. Because some people are saying that the game itself shouldn't allow this to happen even. Let's say, for example, some people propose that if you were to leave an alliance, then you shouldn't be able to join an alliance so quickly, or you shouldn't be able to rejoin the one that you left so quickly. I mean, the idea of that system, and the way it's implemented, is not really being managed correctly, or it's not really being controlled in any way. So what do you guys think of that?
I think that would only hurt. I think that would really only hurt small single alliances more than it would ever hurt an alliance like ours. If a single alliance were to have a player leave, and they're in top 10 or even top 100, and then even if they were to advertise to bring in a new player, but he couldn't help out the new alliance until weekly reset or whatever, it's not going to affect us. as much as it would surely affect a single lower alliance just trying to succeed it.
Well, I see it's a game issue because for the simple thing, you have a leave button and you have a join button. So anyone can leave at any alliance at any time and join any alliance if they get accepted at any time, basically. So that would have to be something the devs would come up with or whatnot. But those buttons are there.
I mean, Kage, what do you think about that issue, man?
My personal thought is that making alliances really competitive is just a good way to burn out your whales. If you're trying to always shoot for top spots, really. But it is a fair case that you guys go by your word and say, hey, we just keep things strictly for during the week. And there's no way to say otherwise, or there's no way to prove or who's doing what, this or that. It all comes down to perception. You guys have 250 members, and so if I check the alliances, top 10 right now, I see UJ, LA. Let me see, 1, 3, 4, 5 in the top 10 right now. And I think the only one missing from that top 10 lineup would be number 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a little trouble this week.
Yeah. So,
and you don't see us jumping down there to help them. They've got to do it on their own. They are a top 10 alliance. They will probably get there, but to be honest, it's been a little bit of a hard week for us too. When you have as many members, a single alliance loses a member. Well, they can be replaced, but when you have 10 alliances, you lose a member in each alliance. It gets a little tougher for us. We got to do a lot more advertising. We have to put a lot more work into maintaining our top spots. It's not easy work. And I will tell you that we have some of the best officers and management in this game. And I got to give them dabs because without them, we don't succeed. They are truly some great members.
Yeah, I mean, I can
but yes,
where you're coming from. I'm the leader of my alliance, and we're only a top 100 alliance, and I have trouble filling spots sometimes, and just like when one person leaves, and I only have to manage 30 people. So
right, I give a lot of respect to our management officers. They do a very, very good job.
So when it comes back to the idea, the issue of whether the game itself, whether the devs or whoever should be thinking about this as an option of removing alliance jumping as a possibility. And now, just to summarize again, Adam, you were saying that this is probably not going to hurt your groups, your alliances as much because you're so big, but it'll probably hurt smaller alliances more than the larger ones because of the fact that if someone were to leave and then things didn't work out and the next place they want to come back, then this could cause a problem for them, right? Now, what if you imposed, for example, like a time gate? What if like the person wasn't able to join in the same day? What if it's like a day later? Would that still help things out?
Well,
I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
The thing I see with that is that no matter how you look at it, the buttons still exist. I mean, the only way I can see some type of change is to penalize a player if they leave alliance and join. But otherwise, those leave buttons and join buttons is going to always be there. And that's for anyone to move around anywhere. So I don't see that stopping anytime soon, unless that's going to be like a penalty if they choose to leave or anything like that.
What I'm thinking is, sorry, what I was thinking with the respect of the join button and the leave button, right? So if someone were to try to rejoin the same alliance they just left, and they were to click the join button, at that time they would say, for example, you had just left this alliance within, let's say 24 hours, and then you would have like a count. You would have like a timer countdown. It's like you can't rejoin this alliance until the timer is back to 0, for example. something like that.
Yeah, like, or here's another thing. When, let's say I jump down to another alliance, the main alliance gets to keep my points, and then I can continue to make more points in the other alliance. What if I left an alliance and the points were lost also for that alliance? So jumping around
wouldn't benefit you at all.
You know what I'm
Right.
Or rather, if your points don't disappear, if your points move with you, depending on where you go, that would be fair, right?
Well, then there would be worse talks of alliance
jumping. That would be a whole lot worse.
Okay, I guess
because if I just
that makes sense.
But if I lost my points in the alliance I was in because I left early, and then I join a different alliance, and if you make it so you're not able to contribute any points, or your points don't matter until the daily reset, I think that would take care of it. But it would still be okay. People could still move around and do what they want, but their points for that day would not count towards anything, and then it would not be a big deal. People wouldn't want to jump around if that's the case.
Right, and in essence, I don't see a difference between PvP leaderboard and an alliance. I can load up on 120 alliance energy, not alliance, but arena, and go inside PvP and ballot and get in the top 10, or I can just load up on 3,000 energy, go to PvE for alliance, and then grind out points that way. I mean, it just comes down to where you want to see yourself at. Some people don't really care about alliance and the top leaderboards, the rewards. Some people care about PvP, and so a lot of people dedicate their resources for that.
All right, that's fair enough. Kage, I'm going to give you the last word, and then we're going to wrap things up. All right. So, what do you think about the idea behind trying to fix the alliance jumping issue?
Points disappearing with you would probably be the strongest incentive. I don't think there's a code possible that they can implement. The only thing I can think of that they can implement that would kind of end of controversy is just put a timer. You can't join an alliance for, X amount of hours, because the game's always on a running clock. So the more time you can grind out, the better. So taking away that time to be able to grind for another alliance really prohibits you from wanting to jump alliances anyway. So that'd probably be the most fair way to kind of end the controversy.
The only bad thing about that is if a leader would kick you out of the alliance. I mean, if you're kicked out and then okay, and then you couldn't join another alliance just because they had a timer, it would be unfair to that member. But
I think they would have to make an exception if it was a kick. So, for example, like a kick and a leave would be two different things.
Yeah, they definitely have to make some type of exceptions for that.
Okay, well, I guess, just to wrap things up here, because we're running a bit long, in the end, the issue as it stands, and I think pretty much everyone agrees, is that the game has this system in place the way it is. There's not really much we can do about it for now. It is exploitable. There are people who may or may not exploit it for the reasons that we have mentioned. But UC, with both their leaders, have come out and defended themselves enough. So if you guys have more beef or more things to take up with them, I suggest you guys take it up with them directly. And they have enough things for to prove their what they've been proving already here, what they've been defending already. So you guys can ask them for that if you need it. But as I will tell you guys, as a moderator on Reddit as well, please refrain from calling them out in public, because we have a strict policy against witch hunting. But in terms of this issue, I'm not sure if this issue will ever get buried completely, and it'll probably crop up from time to time. So whether it does or it doesn't, in the case that it does, please keep it civilized. And we can have an open forum for discussion for anywhere, whether it's on Reddit or on the CC. But there's no need for pointing fingers and whatnot. And we do know that this is a thing that can happen, and maybe WB can step in and do something about it in the future, with the various amount of ways that we've mentioned. But for the time being, I guess this issue sort of has to hang where it is. So I know it's not as satisfying or gratifying for anyone who may be looking for a solution, but I mean, that is what it is, right? Any last words, guys?
Not really, I guess. I pretty much think we said what we had to, and you're never going to make 100% people happy 100% of the time. So, I mean, believe what you want, but if you want to be in a great alliance, come join us. We know how to help you grow as a player. And we have spots open too.
Batman, any last words?
Thank you guys for having us on, and always a pleasure.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, definitely, always a pleasure, guys.
All right.
It's always fun being on, guys.
All right. So with that, have a good night, guys. See ya.
Yep. Thanks. Bye.
All right, see ya.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of WROL Broadcasts, a subsidiary of the Oddsman and We Are Legends. To view additional content and support the show, please go to patreon.com/WROL Broadcasts.